How's everybody doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Fire away.
Nick, as far as Brock Purdy goes, I know you didn't draft a quarterback last year, but did you see on your radar at all, even after the draft period?
Sure, you do your homework on everybody, and then a guy that has won as many games and has many records as he does, of course, you're going to do your homework on him. And he had a really good college tape, that's for sure, and he has good pro tape. So, he's done a nice job since he's gotten into this league.
During the bye week, because some of the opponents you could have faced were teams you had already played, did you do any work ahead on the matters?
No, because there was no possibility for us to play him that week.
How are AJ and Avonte looking for Sunday?
I'm sorry?
How are AJ and Avonte looking?
We're expecting everybody to be doing stuff at practice today. So we're hopeful. We're hopeful that they're going to be ready to go. But we'll take it one day at a time.
The finalists for Coach of the Year came out. You're not one of the top three.
Oh man. Hey, Bob did just tell me that right when we walked down here. That's something I can't control. And those awards are nice and everything like that. I'm really happy for Jalen and Shane that they're on that. But we have obviously much bigger things ahead and on our sights than individual awards.
On that topic, what is your case for Jalen as the MVP?
Yeah, his body of work speaks for itself. He's had a phenomenal year. Now I get to watch it. I'm biased, right? And I get to watch every one of his games and correct every one of his games. I know there's other players that have been playing good as well. But again, I think Jalen's going to say the same thing. Yeah, awards are nice, but we have much bigger team goals in mind, and I hope Jalen wins it, right? Because you want that for your players, and he's had a great year. But I know there's other people deserving as well. He's just going to continue to go about his business and get ready for this next game.
Nick, you talked about home field advantage a lot, sometimes when you're on the road. But as an offensive coach, what does that do to affect communication typically when you have that sort of?
Yeah, you have to do different things with your snap count. You have to do different things with your signals and your communication out to the perimeter. You got to do different. It's just everything's got to be done. Without being able to speak to each other, so you have to signal different things, and so there's just a lot that has to happen because of the noise. And we know how much work we put in when we go to a rowdy stadium. There's a lot of work that has to be done. You don't just do it game day. You have to practice it just like you practice everything else. And so that's a big advantage. That is a big advantage for the defense. It's a big advantage for the defense home team, obviously. And it's a big advantage for the home team. And we know how good our fans are here, and how rowdy they are, how loud they are. This place is incredible. And this is. Obviously you get the bye when you get the 1 seed, but you also get the home field advantage, and they're equally as important.
How does your preparation and message, if at all, change this week?
Yeah, you know what I'm going to say, right?
Did you reach out to anybody in terms of guys who've been through up to this stage since you never had?
No, the schedule being a normal week still the same, and so. As far as the message and the whole thing, it doesn't change, right? You don't do something for this long and have a successful. You're tweaking things and you're tweaking your process at all times. Do you fully just completely go one way or the other? No, you're always in the business of saying, how am I going to get my process as good as I possibly can? And it's an ever evolving thing. And so we just stick to the same thing we've been doing, and we'll, because you don't want to make it, again, there's always a scenario in the NFL where you can make it bigger than just the next game. And whether that's the playoffs, whether that's a guy going to his hometown, whether that's a guy playing against his former team, there's so many different scenarios that you can do that with. So we just stick true to the process and be in one day at a time.
We talk so much about players on this stage and how they handle the pressure of that. How about you personally?
Again, it's our next game. And it's our next opportunity to play for each other. When you're again, you go through your process of everything like this, and it's everything. We're in Philly, first of all, and the pressures. Again, I've told this story 1,000 times, right? Where, hey, it's gonna last year, right? It's gonna be, it's okay. We're in a rebuilding year, and we were in that first preseason game. We were getting drummed at halftime, and we were getting booed. So, we know the expectations here, and we know our expectations. That it's the expectations of this great city and this great fan base, but it's also our expectations. We don't get to this point in our profession with saying, hey, not every game's not important. And every practice isn't important. Like, we're here for a reason. It's because we have that competitive drive. And then when your main goal of every week is to improve and to not let your guy down next to you, and to make sure that you're doing your job because you love your teammate, you love your players, then that's all the motivation you need. And that's a lot of, when you're playing it, and again, I've said the greatest motivation is love. It 100% is. And so when you're playing for your teammates, and when you're playing for you're coaching for your players, and your players are playing for their coaches, there's no greater motivation. And that's a high pressure, and that's every week, and that's every day of our prepreration.
Hey, Nick, we saw you last week mugging for the camera on the sidelines. We've seen you.
It was like right in my face, and I was juiced. We were up a couple scores, and it was like right there. Like, I don't know. That was the first thing that came to my mind. I guess that's just who I am.
Yeah, we've seen that. We've seen you yelling at into the stands and things like that. Like that demonstrative nature, and maybe even playing the role of antagonist sometimes. Is that something that's always been with you, and where's it come from?
Yeah, you can ask some of the people from the neighboring high schools or the rival colleges. You can ask some John Carroll guys or Baldwin Wallace guys, or some. I know my brother married a girl from our rival high school, kind of rival, a little smaller school, and they have all sorts of family members there. And my brother will go to an event in there and at Randolph. And he'll be like, the people there still don't like you from all the things that you did when you were playing against them. So I guess that's kind of been, I'll do. I guess what I give to my team and what I'm trying, like, all I care about is our team, and I'm not really concerned about anything else that anybody thinks except for our team, and trying to help those guys be in position to make plays and make them the best football players they possibly can be.
Nick, was there someone on the team who reminds you the most of yourself in that way?
I guess after you said that, the first person that came to mind was Chauncey. So,
what's the benefit to you of having guys like Kelsey, Fletcher, BG, Lane, who've been here for a decade? They've been through everything, ups and downs, Super Bowl.
Yeah.
What does that give you?
I mean, it's everything. In the sense of, I've said this before too. Like, when I first got the job here, right? I said, I wasn't like other first-year head coaches. And why do I say that? And why I said that was because I had these unbelievable players that have been to the mountaintop, that have played in this league for 10-plus years, and 2 on the offensive line, 2 on the defensive line. And, like, that's a huge, huge advantage to have those leaders on your football team. We have great people on this football team, and we have great leaders on this team. And so to have those guys that have been to the top of the mountain and know what it takes, like that, we got great leaders, and they lead the way, with how you practice, with how you prepare, with how you play in any game, and they've been in this game. And then we have guys too, like, it may not have been but that have played in big time college games as well. And so, that winning, right, the knowing what it takes to be successful. If you play 10 years in this league, you're successful, right? Knowing what and the wins that they've had, that's obviously a huge advantage for our football team.
Nick, after Lane's first real test, real game, playing through that, how do you think his body is responding?
Yeah, it's day by day. Obviously he's going to be sore. I'll let Lane tell you how he feels. He came out. We feel like healthy from that game, and played a really good game, against good competition with the Giants. And we're just happy to have him back out there. And again, I'll let him answer how his body feels, but I'm sure he was sore coming out of it. But we're excited that he's back, and because he's one of the best offensive tackles, if not the best offensive tackle. He is the best offensive tackle in the NFL.
What kind of things did you do when you were in college, that other colleges, guys from?
I don't know. That was too long ago. It was probably just the same celebration stuff and a little chit chat here and there. Nothing that stands out.
What was the thinking behind the two attempted fakes to draw off the Giants, and why didn't it work?
Yeah, I think that's a competitive advantage. If I get into that, I'm gonna just not answer that question.
You talk about the team leaders and the fact that you've got these guys that have been in the Super Bowl, but on the flip side, there's a lot of people, yourself as a head coach, that have never been there, and you're so close now you can taste it. So as a human and a competitor, how do you kind of stay in that same mindset without looking ahead, being that you're right there?
Frank Reich would always say this to me, and I loved when he would say this. He said, "No man suddenly becomes different than his cherished thoughts and habits." Meaning, suddenly, no one suddenly becomes different, right? You are who you've been the whole time. So it's just because, and it goes back to this is a bigger game than this or this. They've all been big, and just because you're in this moment doesn't mean, I show a picture to the team every week of a mountain, right? And there's the top of the mountain, but it is strictly, you can see it, but the guy's vision is just on those steps right there. And so when your focus is that for 17 weeks or 18 weeks or whatever heck week we're on right now, it's been a long season. Whatever it is right now, your focus doesn't change just because the situation or the game around you changes or the opponent changes. You still focus on one step at a time. The higher you climb on the mountain, right? And this is an analogy of a mountain, and this is an analogy of a football team. I get it. It gets windier, right? It gets the conditions get tougher. It gets a little steeper. It gets a little harder to breathe, right? And so now, what an unbelievable time to just focus on the next step and the next step and the next step and don't look up. And so I got kind of goosebumps thinking about that, because that's what we've been doing all year. I mean, that's just what we do, and no man suddenly becomes different than his cherished thoughts and habits.
As a follow-up to the question about expectations, Jeffrey Lurie spoke to the team after you guys clinched about the meeting you had before the season. What's your recollection of that meeting in particular?
Obviously, Mr. Lurie and I, we'll have conversations on that field and after games and everything like that. I'll keep a lot of those conversations private, but he's always, every conversation is always about how much he believes in us, which is great to hear the head of the organization and the owner of the team and the leader of the organization tell you that, and how he'll do anything he can do to help us do our jobs, and you can feel that, and the players can feel that, and we got the best owner in the NFL.
Going back to 2021, when you changed the offense mid-season.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sure. He said you didn't blink when he talked about what I guess the goal was this year, or the expectation was this year. What was your thinking at that particular moment?
Want to make sure that I do my best job for a guy that's giving me everything he's got. I'm gonna give him everything I got.
Going back to 2021, when you changed the offense mid-season, did you anticipate it evolving the way it has? Have things surprised you along the way?
No, I mean that's you don't just change. We adapt and we get things, doing things more of what we've been doing and stuff like that. And so it wasn't like it was this whole flip of a change, right? And so it was just, hey, everybody wants immediate success, and I get it. That's part of this league. Everybody wants immediate, answers, everything. But sometimes it takes time to figure out exactly who you are as a football team and what you're good at, and what you need to continue on with, and what you need to table off to the side, and what you need to get better at, all the different things, right? And so that's a process. It takes time. And bye weeks are really important for that. Your off-season studies are really important to that. For your week-to-week studies are really important to that. And so it was a gradual work into, hey, here's what we're doing well. And I think, as we continued to, we're still figuring that out. We're still, we're pretty good at this. There's still conversations that are happening. Like the bye week a couple of weeks ago, it's like, man, we're good at this. I didn't know we were this good at this. So this is a constant evolving, right? If you're not adapting and evolving, you're going to get passed up. And so it's a constant involvement. It's a constant part of going back to our process of how we go about it and try to perfect our process. And we're playing really good offensive football right now, and we have great offensive line. We got a great quarterback, skill guys, running backs. It's Howie's done a great job of putting this team together, and we're playing good football right now on offense.
Two more, please.
This week that you've never been around anybody with the will to win like Jalen, which is a huge statement. Like, what does he do during the week that is different than other quarterbacks you've worked with? Anything in his preparation? Because he is so even keel all the time.
Yeah, he really is. He's always here. He's always here, and he's he grew up in a football family. His dad's a football coach, and speaking of another guy that's his dad's a football coach, you don't leave that building, and his DNA. It's in his DNA to be here at all times, working on his craft. And whether that's in the weight room, whether that's in the training room, whether that's in the film room, this guy is obsessed with getting better. He's obsessed with getting better. The thing I really admire about that is that he doesn't allow, again, the season can go like this, right? And it does that, and that's just the nature of the season. But he doesn't allow the highs or the lows of the season dictate his next move. And he is so even keeled, and he's so locked in to just that will to win. Again, it's all that. It's all him being here, him leading his teammates, him connecting with his teammates, all those different things. But I do find, like what you said, he's just so even keeled. I find that a big part of his will to win, right? In the sense of I just played he just played an unbelievable game. But he's got this look on his face like, I can do more. I'm gonna get better from it. It's amazing. And that when you really do study, one of my favorite things to do, I've said it in here 1,000 times, is to study great coaches, to study great teams, to study great players. And that was that common denominator of Kobe and Michael Jordan of just how do I get better? How do I get better? He's obsessed with it. I can't say it enough. It's probably hard for me to completely explain exactly how obsessed he is, but I think that's why he is like this. And it's just I'm going to get better from this. It's an excitement, and he's special.
All right, folks, we got Brandon Graham here, and then Jalen will be in right after.